Hello and welcome to Eastenders Weekly, your one and only weekly podcast all about Eastenders. I'm Ben and I'm here with Alex. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. We are discussing episodes from the 30th of April to the 4th of May.
Should I make the joke or should I just leave it?
What's the elephant in the room?
Is it May the 4th be with... Although it's redundant really, because by the time this is released, it's not May the 4th.
Well, you can do it for our fans who watch on the actual day. Oh no, it won't even be up,
unless they're here with us.
It's rubbish, then.
Well, maybe we should get a little audience in our little room.
Shall we?
Yeah, we could have an audience of two. Be like the right stuff.
Yeah, it'd be really good.
Anyway, yes, so what a week, eh? It's not... Well, I say what a week. It's a isn't it?
There was lots of characters waking up after someone's birthday with lots of bad decisions.
Lots of bad decisions were made. Let's have a listen to a few of them.
Married twice, 3 kids, 3 mums. Slept with your brother's wife. Slept with his new one. Slept with your wife's sister.
Oh my God, you want to have sex with me, don't you?
Good things will happen.
We just can't get our nuts around it, you know?
He ain't still sorting out your plumbing, is he?
They're not really the crown jewels I'm after.
Do you understand?
Loosen up my buttons, baby, but you keep running.
I'm rainy, but if you like, I can be sunny.
You stay away from her, do you hear me?
Family, Phil. It's all that matters. Money can't buy what I want.
Keep change.
Because if I find you, your bubble's going straight into the frying pan.
Darling, there is nothing there.
What did I do?
There'll be bubbles.
But I've never met a proper hero before.
I'm a virgin.
Don't think I've ever met one.
There's nothing here for you, darling, so sling your hook.
Never hit a home run, that's for sure.
Open wide, mind your leg. Nick's gonna get out the bunny.
So you're coming then?
That's brilliant. So brilliant. Isn't it brilliant?
I'm really hungry. Can we get chips?
I'll go and get him some crisps, Mick. Sex and fighting.
2 birds with 1 stone, Phil.
The gentleman never tells.
What's got into you, huh?
Shut up. Get up them stairs.
Well, there you have it. So by that little roundup, obviously we know that a certain character's back this week.
Who was that?
Mr. Mitchell.
Yes.
The King and Queen of Walford are together
They're
again.
back together again, and didn't they make it known? They if the house is shaking, then don't come walking into theirs.
No. So he came back with quite a lot of news to see. He saw that the car lot was reopened.
Yes, he saw the car. He returned in the same cab as another returning character.
Yes, halfway. Lovely, halfway's back.
Yes, lovely. So, and halfway...
Although he made halfway pay for the cab.
Well, he made halfway pay for the cab and then basically didn't really acknowledge his existence when halfway was like, oh, can we, just say bygones are bygones, and he just walked off.
Yeah, I robbed you that one time, remember?
Yeah. That time when I shot Mick. The fun we had. So, yeah, and Phil noticed the car lot had reopened. His radar was immediately spotted that, and then he went home.
He didn't get the pun of the name of the car lot, though. Maximum Motors.
I mean, to be fair to Philip, if I wasn't civvy to what was going on, I probably wouldn't have worked it out immediately either. I think.
What would have Jay called it?
Jay's Cars.
Can you not think of a witty name?
Not for Jay, no, nor could Jay. I don't know.
I put the J in car. Well, I don't even know what Jay's surname is.
But also, what would he sell? Would he sell the old hearses that they don't use anymore in the
maybe
funeral parlour?
That's another universe. I'm afraid Max has got it.
Well, Max is...
Or has he?
Well, that's it, you see. So, before we jump too far ahead of ourselves, Phil went home and...
reunited.
With
his bride.
With his, beautiful Sharon. She was not impressed with the half-price chocolate bar.
I know, I would be.
Yeah, I'd be
quite
with that.
Big one, wouldn't it?
It's huge.
I would have had that.
Yeah, no, it looked quite nice. I forget the brand now, but it's like some kind of made-up...
Fake Cadbury's.
Yeah.
It was the same, like, colour purple.
Yeah.
So...
Chocky or something like that.
But he was very excited, wasn't
he?
Revigored
from his holiday in Portugal after seeing his brother. Slapped Sharon on the behind.
That was so funny. And the noise as well.
Oh my goodness, she was neighing, she was purring, she was going up those stairs, straight up, and Phil, as I say, showed her.
They obviously
a happy return.
Yes, reunited. But then the next scene with them, they were completely angry again with each other.
Well, it got somber again.
Yeah,
didn't
very, very
it?
quickly.
It doesn't take long, really, does it, for them to fall out?
Because Phil having a midlife crisis, is he?
Well, it was on Monday and Tuesday's episode. There was almost sniffs of him turning into what Howie and Bill's return was. That was that he read this kind of mantra on the plane, but instead of reading this mantra, he visited his brother and saw his brother had got fat on chips.
Yeah. I don't know if Martin Kemp is happy. Is it Martin Kemp? Who plays Grant?
No.
Martin Kemp's Steve.
Martin Kemp was Steve Owen.
Yeah, what's his name? Ross
Kemp.
Ross Kemp. If I wonder how Ross Kemp feels about being called fat now.
Well, it's not Ross Kemp, is it?
It was only
Grant.
there a few months ago.
Yeah, I know. I don't know how he could put on so much weight so quickly. But then I suppose it's a good life in the sun, isn't it?
He's got Peggy's old villa, maybe.
Well, yes, I suppose it must have inherited, mustn't he? Must have inherited it from his old ma.
And Mitchell hasn't run off to that villa in a while. Last time, I think Ronnie and Roxy ran off there.
No,
a few years ago, didn't they? To see Peg.
To see Peggy. I mean, it was almost forgotten that really Grant left the soap not particularly very impressed with Phil, and he pretty much gave the impression that if it wasn't for their mother being very ill and on the verge of...
he wouldn't have been there.
He wouldn't have been there, but also he would have killed or beaten up his brother, if my memory serves me right. So the fact that he then allowed his brother to come visit him in his villa for 3-4 weeks for a long holiday, for then Phil to then reflectively call him fat and
scoffing chips. So are we assuming that Grant is a lot fatter than Phil now?
Yes, because there's no Adonis, is he? Or Phil, bless him. But then Phil kind of gave him... I don't know if you've noticed, but Phil kind of changed his wardrobe slightly.
Has he?
Yeah, he's not wearing the big black long coat anymore.
Well, he's got his spring outfit out now, isn't he?
Well, his blue jumper and black jeans combo.
No turtlenecks though.
No, not just yet.
Jack's got all them.
He's got the monopoly on those turtlenecks.
Well, I have to talk about Jack's jacket later, actually.
Oh,
he had quite a bizarre jacket.
The one on tonight's episode.
Yeah,
I thought the same. I never mentioned it, but I thought the same. Yes, we will. Yes, we'll discuss that.
Yes, that is to come. So Phil wants to sort of does he want to be younger and tougher like he used to be, doesn't he?
Well, he wants this empire,
his old life back.
Yeah, his old self, he said, and he wants his empire back, and he doesn't want to be. I think he feels low. He's been walked on a little bit before his departure. I mean, Shirley kind of pushed him about. Sharon's pushed him about. Mick, to a degree, has pushed him about, and then Aidan obviously had played him as a fool. So I think he kind of left thinking that he had kind of become a bit of a kitten, Phil Mitchell's standard anyway.
Yeah. I mean, once again, they're undoing Sean O'Connor's work, because Sean O'Connor was slowly turning into that retired godfather character who sat on the chair and gave advice. And yeah, they're undoing that rapidly.
Which is nice, because I must say, I was getting so bored of Phil. Especially last year, and he was becoming
from his kidney liver transplant onwards, he was getting really
well, when he had the transplant, he became almost saintly, didn't he? And
I was willing for him to just die back then. I was quite happy for that to happen.
I mean, I think I felt the same way, to be honest. I just thought, oh, maybe it's time, maybe this is it. But no, I like it now. He's getting a bit active again. It's quite good.
Yeah, he's getting back into his old self. So he was going around trying to work out, because he obviously thought Jay had opened up the car lot, and he wanted his gift back from Jay, didn't he? Because he wants to now run things.
Well, no, he wanted it back from Jay a bit later on, when after he had discovered who'd bought or had ownership of the car lot. It wasn't until he discovered who had the ownership of the car lot that he told Jay he wanted it back.
He couldn't get hold of Jay, could he?
Well, that was basically his his first episode of the week storyline, is that he was wandering around the square asking anyone and everyone if they've seen Jay, and eventually he did bump into Jay and said to Jay, I've seen you've opened up the car lot, and Jay was like, yeah, well, no, it wasn't me. So then Phil gets a little bit suspicious, and then that's when we start seeing from Max and Rainie's perspective exactly how really Max had lied to Sharon, because he said to Sharon he wasn't particularly very worried about Phil being about, but then as soon as he saw him through the blinds, he was very much like, oh, hang on, he's here. And Rainie's like, who's here? And she didn't seem to care, did she? She didn't seem to mind, but he seemed a bit worried.
Yeah. I mean, you would be.
Well, you would be, because a man who feels as though, like Phil Mitchell, who feels as though he's had something taken away from him, is going to be not a very happy man.
So Rainey and Max are squatting, aren't they?
Yes, again, they conveniently hear Kim and Denise talking at the Minute Mart about how Kim has to give it all up, and you're living with me now. There's no way you can keep the flat going.
Left it all furnished.
Yeah, I mean, Kim has obviously still ownership of the house, so she must have paid off some of the mortgage arrears that was originally
with that ring.
And she's obviously on the cusp of renting it, or wants to rent it out to someone. And Max and Rainey originally wanted to legitimately rent it, thinking this is the first step from us getting that
Denise
social
had
worker.
other ideas though, Denise, didn't she?
Well, Denise told him what the price was, and Max had misunderstood that he thought that was the annual price. Like £1,200 was the annual price.
It's so stupid.
Which is a bit dumb, considering he's a businessman as well. And so, in the meantime, when they're looking around the house, Rainey looks around for some keys.
Yes, to that back door that I've never seen open before.
The back door that leads to a bricked off path.
Sort of alleyway sort of thing. I've never seen that before.
I mean, I don't know how you get round to it. It's not really explained, is it?
Because there's like a apartment underneath.
Well, yeah, and also there's not an apartment, isn't it? It's the basement underneath.
But like turned into an apartment.
But also the side of the building is what leads down toward the community centre. So and there doesn't seem to be any, from when Donna wheeled herself down there a couple of weeks ago, just before Vincent had left. If my memory serves me right, there never seemed to be any kind of entrance or exit that could have led to that back door.
We have to study the map.
We might have to.
But get answers.
But they're obviously planning to keep that house and rent it off. But Denise lied and said that there was a lot of interest, and Max was like, "Well, if you're showing it to me, clearly that's not true, because I'm the last person you want to rent it to."
I don't know why there wouldn't be interest. It's quite a nice house, fully furnished.
It's fully furnished, but
modern.
I think for where it is, it's not really a professional's home, is it? Although Jack would like to tell people that.
Well, Mel lives in Walford. She's a professional.
Well,
Sharon's a professional.
She rents from Jack, her landlord.
Yeah, well, someone can rent from Kim.
Well, yes, no, that's true. But then she works at the E20, doesn't she? It's like it goes to their mysterious
big bubble.
Big wages, isn't it? Yeah. So Phil eventually puts two and two together and works out that Max is now the owner of the car lot. Maximum Motors, which obviously doesn't humour Phil very much, and so he proceeds to try to go and have it out with Max. But Max isn't at the offices anymore. He's now, as you said, camping up in sheds.
Yeah, squatters.
Yes. the most
eating lots of sandwiches this week.
Lots of sandwiches and fish and chips.
And chomping.
They're always eating them too. Rainey and Max were always eating. They were eating something or another. Every scene. And Phil basically conveniently had this box cutter in his back pocket. Again, I don't know.
Does he carry that around with him?
Well, he must have to. He's just unless he had this plan to just deflate one tyre on his car lot. So yeah, and so that was basically Phil's big epic framework for trying to take over the square again.
Yeah, and because a few things intertwined on this storyline this week, we also sort of had a Sharon Keanu situation with a middle class posh man wanting his car fixed in.
Yeah, he came in with his BMW and he had a bit of a go at Keanu because Keanu basically said to him, "I can't fix that for you today, and I haven't got the parts." And it was Keanu's fault for why he hadn't listened to him say that, and that's why his car wasn't fixed.
Yeah, it's very rude, wasn't he?
He's a very rude person.
It's a bit weird on Eastenders, like middle class people on there. They always write them really awfully in the same. It's the same how they wrote Ted's daughter. Like, it was just like a copy of her, like a rude...
I mean, people who've it's as you said just now, it's a bubble, isn't it? So people who've kind of made themselves outside of this bubble, in this fictitious world of Albert Square, are almost looked down upon.
Yeah. Have Eastenders ever had like a well-written middle-class family on the square before? I
mean,
think of any.
Unless they became in hard times, I don't think that you would ever get that storyline would appear.
Maybe that's a potential family for the future.
I mean, with the
Something a bit
DeMarcos,
different.
could you argue the DeMarcos were a little bit well-to-do?
I don't know.
That's
why they were
so
written
hated.
out.
Well, they were hated. They
Yeah.
were hated by.
But it's more of a writing issue than a.
Well, it's like anything in EastEnders land, and that's the fact that they rely quite heavily on extras to be almost stereotypes. So here comes Poshy. He's a bit rude.
Yeah.
He wants
Let's
things.
get rid of him.
Yeah, he obviously pays to get what he wants. He's tried to pay to get what he wants this time, not got it, and so let's punish him for being a bit toffee. Which I suppose perhaps makes a lot of viewers be like, "Yay!" But
Yeah,
then,
down with the middle class.
Yeah, down with them.
So he was being quite mean to poor Keanu, and along comes a blonde.
Yes,
to sort it out.
Yes, so Sharon came along, and
strong woman, she can do it. Doesn't need Phil.
Well, she said that repeatedly, about 2 or 3 times. She didn't need Phil, and every time Keanu backed it up with, "Well, in this situation,
we need Phil.
You need Phil." Yeah,
no, we don't. Where's his keys?
Yeah. Let's
because he stormed off, didn't he?
The Toff.
Yeah,
let's call him Toffee.
Unknown Toff, Mr. Toff,
Mr. Toff. Yeah, he stormed off in a fit of
drove
rage.
His car away.
He called Sharon Blondie.
Yeah,
which
he said like girls and motors don't mix.
Yeah,
I don't
excuse
want
me,
to talk to
love.
you.
Yeah, excuse me, love. You don't know anything. You're a woman.
Coming from him, who's never set foot in a mechanics.
I don't think he's ever done anything that's caused any dirt under his nails.
Go to his stag do.
Yeah.
So Keanu had a spare set of keys left behind.
Well, it was the set that again. Who has? I don't know. Am I the only one who doesn't have a second set of keys?
Well, someone's got them. Sharon's got them.
Which
that's why your car goes.
That's why the car alarm was going off this afternoon. I knew it. And
so she had a little idea. She said, "I am tough like Phil, so I've got an idea. Follow me, Keanu."
I mean, I think she's really happy that Phil's got this new vigor, but at the same time, I think she always feels like she's on his coattails and like doesn't like the idea of being second best. So almost like, again, we likened them a couple of weeks ago to being like the popular kid at school, and Sharon's always trying to impress Phil, like she wants to be like with the popular kid at school. She's always trying to impress him, and I think Keanu's just feared into submission by both
feared
of them.
and in awe of Blondie Sharon.
And
so
Phil.
she goes off with him to basically steal a car.
Yeah, they steal the car
and drive it back to.
I mean, well, that's another thing.
The workshop.
Driving back to the workshop, and we also discovered that there's lots of cameras on the high street. So, like, again,
I know they didn't really explain that, did they? How they're not caught.
Well, it became a threat later on with Max, but luckily they had a tarpaulin, so everything was okay. But obviously, in this situation, it wasn't. It doesn't warrant that. But yeah, so anyway, they steal the car, and Keanu. There was a little bit of chemistry.
Yes, this scene of both of them in the car, and she was sort of getting a bit cocky, wasn't she? She was tooting her horn.
She was.
Not her horn.
But he was tooting the horn and whacking the steering wheel.
Yeah.
And she was there, like, giving him suggestive ideas. And yeah, and to be fair, it's been a theme all week from time to time.
I mean, I saw someone on Twitter post, "I see a steamy affair heading to EastEnders with Sharon and a certain mechanic."
See, now I can see that too, and I do. I think that seems.
And obviously, we know that lovely Ingrid and her great character development.
I mean,
is going on a wild exit storyline of travelling.
Yes, one so wild
that opens up.
Well, one so wild a storyline that it's basically been mentioned in about 1 minute to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the only mention we can going to give to Ingrid. Normally, we mop up storylines at the end of the discussion, but on this occasion,
can't even cover that.
That was us talking about Ingrid.
Yeah, she's going travelling. Everyone.
We should timestamp that. Ingrid gets mentioned.
So that opens up Keanu's relationship status.
Yes, to single. Ready to
now,
mingle.
what do you make, if this is a thing, what do you make of a Keanu and Sharon relationship?
Weirdly and sadistically, I like it. I kind of want it to happen. I think, going back to what we said about Sharon always wanting to impress Phil, she clearly impresses Keanu. And when I know Keanu's quite easy to impress.
He's a little puppy dog, isn't he?
He is a puppy dog, and I think Sharon would want that.
Maybe that's what Keanu needs.
Yeah.
It's an older woman.
An older woman to guide him.
Teach him the way.
Yes.
The ways of a Mitchell.
Because it could get really complicated once Keanu finds out the big secret that we discovered earlier, not this week, like a few weeks back, about his dad. So it could get super complicated.
Well, him and Sharon could bond because Dennis Rickman got stabbed.
Oh, yeah.
Karen, his mum, got stabbed. So
yeah.
maybe there'll be a bit of bonding.
Yes.
She'll embrace him in a hug in her bosom on her black and her black fishnet tights. And one thing might lead to another. Because
that's what a lot of relationships are built on in EastEnders. A relation of mutual scenarios. I never thought. Did that just pop in your head?
It did.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah. So there's that possibility coming up.
Yes.
So
Sharon suggests to Phil that it was Jay's fault that the car lot was given up to Phil.
Yeah, not hers.
To Max, sorry. Yeah, well, not hers, but also technically not Max's. It was Jay that did it, almost to dampen off the fire a little bit, but it doesn't last long. And also Sharon then starts to encourage the antics, the shenanigans.
Showing away all the time.
But in the meantime, Max and Phil kind of have a couple more running-ins during the day at the cafe and back at the car lot because Phil's desperately trying to pay Max off to leave.
Yes, he wants him gone. And Rainey. He doesn't like her hanging around, does he?
That's more Sharon's thing, I think. Sharon always brings in, and Rainey. Yeah. Oh, and Rainey. She always adds that to the end. And I think, again, she's a bit worried that
Don't go sniffing around my fella.
Yes. Because it was Sharon's fault, essentially, why Rainey hung around later in the week. Because Sharon kicks her back. Because Max and Rainey basically have had this really roller coaster up and down. Like, he hates her, she gets angry, he apologizes, she forgives him, he hates her again because she's done something even though she's not really done anything wrong, and it just kept happening again. Every episode was the same for Max and Rainey. At the beginning of the episode he got angry at her because she'd done something wrong.
My interest for the Rainey and Max story has been like going down.
It's really dwindling. It's really becoming...
I thought it was like this could be a bit interesting, a bit fun to start with, but now it's just like it's just ridiculous.
It would be better if there was some genuine chemistry there. I think that it just seems a bit forced. Not the actors, like the characters.
Yeah,
like it seems too forced that the characters are together there.
Yeah, it's the fact that they're together because they want to adopt a baby, and then she's going to leave once he has the baby
with money. Yeah,
surely Max would have just as much chance on his own rather than having like an ex-drug addict with like a criminal record.
Or anyone really. You know, he could he not just gone to a bar and said, "Hi, I'll give you £20,000 if you pretend to be my wife
really
tomorrow."
Silly.
Yeah, well then.
It's just them trying to keep the Brannings relevant, isn't it?
Well,
with Abby and Laurie both Laurie.
Laurie. You always call her Laurie.
With them both gone, I guess they're just trying to keep the Brannings relevant.
I suppose it's the shock twist is the fact that he asked his ex-wife's sister, who's an ex-drug addict and also has a lot of history on the square. It makes more sense to introduce that as his new wife than just some random person. I mean, he could have asked Cora.
What, to be his wife?
Yeah.
No, but they're going against Cora for the adoption.
Oh yes, they
Abby,
are. Yes.
So.
Well, yeah, but if he worked with Cora, they would have had a better chance, probably.
Yeah, Cora hates Max. She doesn't want Max to have the baby.
No. Can you imagine them when Max introduced the baby to Rainey? Can you imagine when if he was married to Cora? Like, this is your grandmother and mother.
That's so confusing.
It's like, yeah.
So Phil got £10,000 worth of cash out of E20's secret safe behind a picture.
Yes.
The Mitchell trait.
Yes.
I mean, that's made quite a lot of money quite quickly, that club, hasn't it?
Mel's done well. And Mel even wanted Phil to mention that, to credit her for how well she's done. Considering that we don't really see much
considering every time it's open, something terrible happens and it gets closed down.
Well, no, yeah. For the first night, something terrible happened. And then the last... What has been the last two times we've seen
private parties?
Two private parties, and they've both not particularly been very popular. Considering there's a capacity 500.
Allegedly.
Yeah, I mean on a Monday,
300 in the toilet, 200 on the dance floor.
Rainey spends most of the time in the toilet, probably.
Not anymore. She's cleaned up her act.
No, she's cleaned up her act. Yes, sorry, I forget.
So he wanted to give Max £10,000 to leave the square for good and take Rainey with him. Max wasn't having any of it, did he? He was very cocky, saying, "I'm going to sell all these cars. It's going to be all right."
Yeah, to Max's defense, yes, he I don't think it was so much that he wanted to be there for selling the cars and anything like that, or even to tick off Phil to wind him up. I don't think that's his intention. He says to Phil, your money can't buy what I want, and essentially all he wants is his baby Branning, baby Abby, he feels like this is his redemption if he can get that baby and he can finally do everything that he was meant to have done with Abby all those years. So in a way, it's a bit of a redeeming feature for Max, the fact that he's refused £10,000 and then later on £20,000 from Phil.
I mean, he contemplates it for like 10 seconds when one sale doesn't go through.
Yeah,
it's so like, of course.
But again, it's a matter of time, isn't it? So it's just to quickly push the story along quickly.
So, did you want to quickly mention Max's sales techniques and training with Rainey?
Well, it's
very 21st century.
It's very much, it's a again another branding trait, because we've seen
women.
Jack, women. Jack has the same kind of similar. It's with their dad, isn't it? Perhaps.
Yeah, maybe.
They basically, if you can show a bit of cleavage, give them
undo one more button,
on your blouse, lift up your skirt a little bit higher.
Any man will spend £10,000 just to talk to an ex-prostitute, apparently.
Because and also, as long as the man is straight and not married,
a bit greasy.
Yeah. I mean, the two guys that she tried it on with were a bit like,
One of them bought them, didn't they? So,
well, she got that one sale, which basically
that made Max a bit cocky.
Not cocky, confident.
Well, to say no to Phil.
To say no to Phil, but also he felt more confident to kind of think that this plan might actually work. But do you not think the plan's going to work?
I just don't like the plan.
No, I don't like it. We've made that clear. It's a bit of it's a crazy plan, isn't it? And again,
I still don't really understand how Max is afforded to fit out the office, yet he can't afford to rent
and buy cars legitimately.
Bizarre.
He's making a case of the fact that his 4 cars that he's got on the lot are legitimate. But so
I'm hoping these things will make sense or add up eventually.
I'm sure they will.
Are you sure?
No.
How sure?
No,
so while this is going on, we have more ongoing storylines of the car that Sharon and Keanu stole, and she put it up in one of Phil's apparent secret
lockups
that he has.
He has lots scattered around the city.
Do you think the original Queen Vic bust is in one of those lockups?
Oh, maybe. Because I found out that Peggy, when she sold the Queen Vic, took the Queen Vic bust with her.
She did.
Yes.
When she sold it to Sharon secretly.
Unknowingly sold it to Sharon.
She had the Queen Vic bust. So maybe it's in one of the lockups.
That one could be in one of the lockups.
So Sharon knows where it is because she's now married to Phil.
Oh, yeah. So by means, she's actually ended up getting that bust that she wanted all along. So Phil's not very happy because he got a visit from Mr. Toft.
Yes. I quite like Phil this week, actually. He's not taking anyone.
He's old Phil.
Yeah.
He's back
telling
to
people
the
to
old
bugger
Phil.
off. Your car, ain't it? Got it? Get.
Do you understand? All right, Phil.
So that did scare Mr. Toff, and he
backed up,
yeah,
didn't
he said he went, called his bluff, and then he went to have a bit of a word with Sharon. Phil did, to ask her what's going on.
I mean, sorry to quickly think, he must have reported it stolen, so you'd think there would be some kind of degree of investigation happening around that car.
Well, no, because Phil said, "Go on and phone the police, I dare you," and he said, "Well, you've called my bluff then."
Yeah, but how's he called his bluff? I don't
know.
Every time we say these things...
Well, obviously he's scared of Phil. Who knows? Yeah, these questions will maybe answered.
Tied up in a nice little package.
Yes. So he's sort of he's quite angry at Keanu as well because he's messed up the accounts. So he's on his last. He's got 24 hours to prove his worth, and luckily Sharon has an idea because she's got a little soft spot for Keanu all of a sudden.
She has. Well, it was actually Keanu's idea, wasn't it? If my memory serves me
right.
I
think it was a bit of Sharon pushing him in the right direction.
Yeah.
To impress Philip.
But also again taking enough of the credit to have Sharon
a bit for her.
Yeah, a little bit.
A bit for Blondie.
A little bit of a few crumbs thrown towards Sharon for her to pick up.
So instead of telling Phil, we're going to show you.
Oh yes, they demonstrated it.
Yeah, so they took the car from the lockup.
Yes,
wherever that was. around the
Mysterious-
corner,
one of his
just past the
many.
police station, and parked it up into Max's car lot.
Yes, the spare spot that's now become vacant because
The one car that's
the
sold.
car they've
Oh
sold.
yeah, of course.
Mm.
That's lucky.
That's one bit of continuity that was right.
Yeah. It's better than Tiffany's tan last week, which kept disappearing.
Did you see? I'll talk about someone else's tan later. Sorry,
Oh, I didn't know someone was tan this week.
someone had a really
Not
bad
Sharon?
tan line. No,
Oh.
no, a male character
Oh.
back from.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
there we go.
I was blinded by the shower scene. So they have set up Max to basically take the fall for stealing this car.
Yes,
That's what their plan is, isn't it?
exactly.
So they drove it onto Max's car lot somehow without any cameras seeing it.
Yes,
Although luckily the cameras at Max's place are fake, so that's good.
yes. Rainey kind of had a go at Max for that later. Well, in the next episode.
Yeah, and Phil's having like playing games. Like someone's coming to look at the car, aren't they? And they can see that it's locked, so he sort of unlocks it for Max. And then Max thinks Rainey unlocked it from inside.
Well, this is it's one of those kind of confusion ensued situations. So when they first arrive, Max tries to talk to Rainey, but Rainey starts doing.
Oh, it's they do
business.
that a lot recently. Is where they try they say half a sentence, and someone goes, "Oh, my toast is ready. I'll just go. I'll just interrupt your sentence and pick up my toast." And it's like I forgot to say.
Go make coffee.
That does happen a lot at the moment.
Or what's this down the back of the sofa?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's happening a heck of a lot. It's a quite a cheap.
Like
tool.
an easy way out, isn't it?
It's an easy way out to move the plot along.
Because they did it with Louise and Michelle when she left, like last week, was it?
A couple of weeks
Seems
ago.
like a long time ago. No one's mentioned her. And yeah, they do it a lot. So, yeah, they didn't get their story straight. So Max thinks Rainey bought this car. I'm assuming Rainey thinks Max bought this car.
Well, she does, because then when Phil's, as you say, showing the car off, when Max is showing the car off, Phil conveniently walks past, posting a letter with the keys to the BMW, Mr. Toff's car in his pocket, and opens it up. So he thinks, as you said, that Rainey's inside the cabin, opening the car door for him, like some kind of automatic reaction.
Good wife.
Like a good wife, and
like a good woman.
Yeah, like a
With her
good woman
blouse.
should. But she's been trained by a Branning, and that's the Branning way.
If her blouse button's undone, she's away.
If you're not in that kitchen, you're not welcome. So she starts trying to put signs in the car for like because she's like, oh, it's all fine and well, you're buying these nice posh cars, but there's no prices for anyone to see how much they're going to cost. And she sets off the car alarm, and then it's that makes Max realise, oh, hang on. I never put this here. Rainey never put this here.
Yeah.
I bet it's one of Phil's little tricks. But he straight away thinks it's a stolen car, which is a really quick, again, another quick assumption to come to.
Well,
I mean,
stories are going thick and fast.
well, they're just zooming by. I mean,
no time.
Rainey made quite a reasonable argument that it's just that someone saw that there was a parking space there, parked there, without wanting to pay for, a ticket or anything like that, a parking space around London.
No.
No.
Max knows what's up.
Well, Max, yeah, but that's what I mean. It's like it was such a reasonable thing to say, and it wasn't until he went to Phil's house and started banging on the door, and you saw Phil spinning the keys on his finger, with quite relaxed on the sofa, and Sharon's kind of there with a raised eyebrow, going, like some kind of dastardly. All she needed was a moustache to kind of pull from her face, like put someone on the rail tracks. She was that close to being like a 1920s kind of black and white evil creature.
I mean, a lot of people online seem to be quite angry at Sharon and Phil for upsetting Max.
I mean, it is a form of bullying.
Someone said, Phil and Sharon are utterly despicable. Is sending a man to prison for a crime he didn't commit not enough?
Oh, yeah, that's true. Forgot about that. They lied, didn't they, for Ian?
It was Phil who paid off the jury to put Max in prison. That's why I want Max to get one over on Phil.
Ooh.
So yeah, there's quite a lot of support of Max.
I mean, Max has had
surprises me.
Yeah, he's had a very hard time, to be fair to him, the last couple of years. So to have some kind of redemption would only be suitable, really. But I don't think he's going to get any redemption in this storyline.
I just think it's difficult to give Max redemption for everything that he did, but apparently it's a bit easier than we thought.
That's true, because we have to remember that Max has basically
Murdered Stephen.
Attempted
to murder Jane in hospital by holding her tubes.
Yes, then threatened Jane.
Trying to kill Ian by strangling him.
Got someone in juvenile prison to try to push, but it was to try to get Jane. It was to try to get Jane to change her mind to go away from Ian. He got someone to bully. He got some kids to bully. I forget his name.
Bobby.
Yeah.
In prison.
In prison.
Yeah.
He got the video, didn't he, on his thing?
Exactly. So he's done quite a lot.
Not whiter than white, is he? He's a redder than redder.
Yeah.
He's not Mr. Innocent in this either.
Yeah. So Phil's coming up with a little plan. So warning here. Kathy Bill appeared out of the cafe.
Kathy got a storyline, everyone. If you've got a party popper in your hand, pop it now.
I know, this is the beginning of something special. So she wasn't in the cafe, which also obviously meant this is going to be big.
Oh yeah, this is going to be important.
Yeah. So Phil went up to her and said, I need an email from you. An email address from you. And that was it. But, you know.
Who was it
exciting
for?
times.
Who was the email from?
Well, he was emailing Fee Browning, wasn't he?
Yes. Who I missed.
She's done her cookbook. She's recently said she'd be quite happy to return to EastEnders.
I'd like to see her return.
So could we see her and Josh come back and rent an apartment? That'd be good.
Yeah, no, I don't think we'll see Josh.
Why?
Because I think he doesn't need it.
Nor does she. She's like married to a rich person.
Well, I know, but like Fee's... Well, okay, let's rephrase that. I think Josh's story had ended, but Fee's story hadn't.
No. Bring them
and
both back and they can get vengeance for Luke.
No, I don't think Fee would
brother.
give... No, I don't think Fee would care.
But we can all hope. But anyway,
yes.
He emailed Fee. He you don't see his question, but he's asking about the car lot. Basically, who owns it, I'm assuming.
He wants to know the ownership of the car lot. And in a very formal email, she replies that it's no longer under the ownership of Wayland and Co.
No, it's under J. Brown.
And to get in touch with J. Brown.
So we know that Max doesn't own it, and Jay does still own it officially. Obviously, Max throwing the paper out into the street wasn't that official as he thought it was.
No.
Funny that.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a funny email when Phil was looking through his emails I saw as well today, where Sharon had emailed him while he was on holiday.
Where are you?
With the subject title, Hope Everything's Okay.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Or, How are you?
How are you?
So Sharon was obviously sent that after a few glasses of wine.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. Probably having she was
probably bored at home because Michelle's gone. So Phil wasn't there for Michelle leaving. He's not asked where she is.
Yes, he was.
Oh, was he? Was he back?
Yeah, because it was just...
Well, was that long ago?
It was after... Because Michelle left after the Hunter incident.
Oh,
and Phil was still there.
Oh, right.
Because Phil threatened Michelle that if he did...
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It wasn't a very long holiday then.
Short step. Well, nice cheap little holiday.
Yeah.
I mean, doesn't Phil also, talking about holidays, doesn't he only go to like sober parts of the countries, like when he goes? Remember when they went to Italy and he found an AA group while he was out there and Sharon was fuming? I'm going to go out there and eat pizza and wine.
Oh. So, he had that. So possibly Fee Browning could make an appearance. She's made an email. Her name's on the email, so that's exciting.
I would encourage a Fee return.
Yeah. See, Max could have married her instead of Rainey.
Well, see, that's one of the reasons why I would encourage it sooner rather than later, because bringing Fee back into the midst of things, that means that there's a possibility that she and Max might... Because that was left quite unresolved as well, wasn't it? I think they both
a lot
still...
of that was left unresolved.
Yeah, no, I know. No one's fault, really, apart from the producers.
Certain someone.
Yeah.
So that's sort of where we've left it with Phil looking at his email. And then we've obviously still got Rainey and Max just squatting in the house. And Kim sort of appears.
No, sorry, before that, the resolve of the stolen car.
Oh, yeah, of course. How could I forget?
So Max goes back after drinking. So he's actually letting his guard down now as well. So at a party at E20, Max starts drinking. And because the whole time up until that point, all he's been doing is having orange juice and non-alcoholic drinks to keep his composure and also to keep this facade
he probably
up.
can't afford it.
No, but he's keeping the facade up. I think he realises that if he's drinking in public, he's not going to be able to keep his facade up. And he didn't because he had that drink. Oh. And Ian Beale just said one passing comment to him. And where before he was a bit you could tell agitated, calm and collected about it. This time he snapped back at Ian. And I think Jack was taken a bit aback by that too. And so he was starting to show a chink in his armor a little bit, that he was,
agitated.
He's agitated, and he's not this composed person that he went off and came back to become.
Yeah. And Rainey's doing his head in.
And Rainey's doing
Slightly.
his head in. Although you have to give kudos to Rainey that every single time that something should happen, like a problem arises, Rainey's the one who solves it.
Yeah, but Max wants to do everything by the book, and she doesn't ever do anything by the book. Like the car, for instance.
No, that's true. So yeah, so she basically organises a friend who's got a lowrider, a low bed truck to take the Mr. Toff's car with the tarp over it, so no one can see on the cameras down the high street, and then she sold it to, I presume, the same guy for. Obviously for a profit, because they never paid anything for the car in the first place. So when Max turns up to the car lot to see two police officers kind of looking through the window and knocking on the door, Mr. Brannan, and
that really scary policewoman.
She was vicious, wasn't she? Like, she was going to take. She wanted.
She was like 2 foot tall.
Yeah, she wanted to arrest someone that day, didn't she? She was mean, and Max didn't notice that the car was gone until he walked up and they started asking him questions, and he went, "Well, how am I meant to know that someone would park?" And then when he turns to look for the car, it's gone. And so then he's like, "Oh, hang on, we'll go in. He'll show you the paperwork and something." And so everything was solved and resolved, and this and the other. So then went back at the squatting to Kim's house, having another ham sandwich, and Rainey comes back in, explains what he had done, and he's like, "Oh, crazy!" But then, as you say, Kim.
It was a really weird scene, this was.
Really odd scene.
Because it didn't seem to link to anything that happened in the next episode either.
I mean...
Like, she thought Vincent was in the kitchen because she heard a noise, and she just sat on the dining room table and didn't...
Well, she said she could hear him breathing.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know whether it genuine was that she heard Max and Rainey in the house, or whether she just wanted him to be there. She wanted to imagine that he was there. It was a bit tough.
I thought, oh, she thinks he's there, but... she doesn't want to see him because she's angry. But then on the next episode, she sort of doesn't really mention it.
No.
And it's just like, oh, so maybe she didn't really believe he was there.
I mean, that was quite a personal thing, wasn't it? I suppose you wouldn't go up to your sister and say, "Oh, by the way, when I went to the house to get some things for Pearl, I thought I heard someone breathing." And
but with her argument with Donna, she was like, "I have no idea, I haven't seen him. He's not..." It's
yeah.
I don't know. I thought she might have mentioned it. But...
maybe the house brought back ghosts, some memories, and she basically made her feel like she imagined that he was there.
Do you think I just thought something else just popped into my head. Getting all lots of thoughts. Do you think maybe they did that so Rainey had a bit of information to manipulate her in the future or something about Vincent? Maybe that's why they had her say things out loud in front of Rainey.
That's not a bad punt.
A bit of information for her to manipulate her later.
Yeah, that would sound about right. I mean, there was no indication that they were kind of listening into plot for any reason, but yeah, as you say, that could be brought up again later. But while they're hiding, and once Kim had left, Rainey got a well done from Max. Finally, she got the tick that she wanted, the gold star that she wanted. Yeah, but they've obviously still got this issue of nowhere to stay, and it's getting a bit close now because they've nearly been caught a few times. That's right. So over a bag of fish and chips, they decided they need to. All they did was eat this week. Yeah. Every time they were in a scene, they would eat. I know. And they're not the quietest
people with
either.
no money. They've getting a lot of takeaways.
Well, a loaf of bread, a tub of margarine
for the minute mark,
some ham. Yeah.
So obviously this was again another one of Rainey's grand plans of trying to find somewhere to live, because apparently the social worker was thrilled with their
I don't know
somehow.
I don't know what interview the social worker was at, but suffice to say, I think it was a disaster.
I mean, a man who's been in prison for murder and multiple arrests, and a drug addict and ex-prostitute is a perfect couple to adopt a baby.
Why
apparently,
not? They've both
don't have a house.
They've turned over a new leaf, Ben.
Who have no home address. It's apparently very good.
They live with. It's believed that they live with Jack, which made it even more puzzling.
I thought the social worker worked out they didn't, because Jack came home during the interview.
But they said that Jack was their landlord.
Oh, okay.
So it did puzzle me that they were then looking for a different place to live. It's like, could they not have would they still use Jack's house as like the pretend house, but have this other flat that they would live in.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was weird. But anyway, it kind of worked out well because Rainey noticed that Ingrid was in the cafe. Again, another mention of Ingrid.
I know, but they didn't even get to see Ingrid, like...
I mean, she had no scenes, didn't she?
No,
really?
she didn't even talk. Like, Rainey just looked up, like, went up to her and stared at her and was like...
We need to chat.
Yeah, we need to chat. And she just didn't say anything, and then it just cut.
I mean, Ingrid, just because, again, we probably won't talk about Ingrid ever again, but she...
There's one more scene to follow, I feel.
There is, yeah. Oh, yeah, next week. But for this week, she... The actress herself seemed genuinely quite deflated.
Like, about to burst into tears.
Yeah, like this was happening around her. Like,
oh, I'm leaving?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, here's your script. Act it out now. You've got 30 minutes.
Maybe she wasn't told what was going to happen because she had no lines. So she was like, and action. Yeah, you're leaving. And she just looks like, what? What's happening?
So, yeah, she has been convinced to go travelling by Rainey. I'm assuming Rainey's paid her off. Giving her some of the money from that car, from the car they got.
Yeah,
maybe.
Never thought of that, but yeah, no, that's a fair point. So
Yeah.
and she tells Keanu, we might as well just stick with Ingrid really quickly. She tells Keanu,
I know, this is
but
really
in the
horrible.
most horrible way. Yeah, so she kind of and
this does link in actually to the.
Oh yes, I suppose Vic does. Yeah, so she goes into the Queen Vic and says, "Oh, I have something to tell you."
She just announces it to everyone.
Yeah, and then everyone else starts asking her questions like, "Oh, what's happening, Ingrid?" "Oh, I'm leaving." "Oh, all right then."
Yeah, poor Keanu just stood there like,
shocked.
Oh.
Like, and then she turned around and went, "I'll buy my own drink."
Yeah.
Walked back to the bar.
All right, Ingrid. If we knew you were this horrible all along,
a cow.
Yeah,
She's
we wouldn't
a
have been
cow.
rooting for you.
But do you know who supported Keanu when the news got
and another blonde,
another blonde,
with
a leggy
thicker,
blonde,
with thicker, longer hair,
much more lustrous hair.
Yeah, she said, "Oh well, Sharon, there's plenty more fish in the sea."
Sharon was there to be a
With a
shoulder to
raised
cry
eyebrow,
on. Yeah, popping up the bar as always.
Well, who can blame her for Keanu, eh?
Oh,
Bit of an upgrade from Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, a bit of an upgrade.
The muscles.
Oh, Jesus.
So, yeah, that's Ingrid's going travelling.
So that's Ingrid.
Where do you think she's going to go? New Zealand?
Ooh.
Peru?
Thailand, yeah.
Ibiza?
Although she's got very pale
She'd probably
skin.
go somewhere, like, really boring and, like, I don't know.
France.
Sensible, yeah, like a canal cruise or something.
Yeah. I'm off to Scotland.
Oh, well.
Oh,
Lovely
well.
Ingrid. We can talk. When she leaves next week, we can...
we should do
have
a little
chat.
section about Ingrid next week.
She had that big storyline with... on Halloween last year.
Oh yeah, yes. So she
very exciting.
had one nice storyline.
She had a go.
And she had Keanu. Although even Keanu said like nothing really happened.
We weren't really official.
It wasn't really happening.
I fancied Jane more.
Oh dear.
So that brings us back around to Rainey.
Oh, okay.
Getting Ingrid's room.
Oh yeah, so they've got now where Ingrid's room, where in Jack's house. And Jack seemed really...
Jack doesn't seem to care either that Ingrid has quit,
No.
even though he relies on her 24/7.
He said, yes, exactly. He's his nanny, and he was like, "You can move in the weekend."
Yeah.
So you're actually going to chuck up Ingrid tonight. So I really don't think we're going to see Ingrid again. I think that was it.
I've
that was
seen one photo of her with like a cup of coffee leaning over to Keanu, which we haven't seen yet. He's by the swings.
Oh, okay.
So there must be one more scene. Unless it got cut.
Ooh. What an awful way to go.
I know.
Like, there was... Michelle's leaving was pretty... but to actually just be like, "Oh, I'm leaving. I'll get myself a drink."
Yeah. And I suppose Joyce's was a bit... But at least it had, like, payoff afterwards.
Yeah.
But I don't think Ingrid's going to have any...
No.
She's not going to set any earthquakes afterwards.
Well,
Tremors.
She didn't really attach to any of the characters other than Keanu in the end.
And apparently she didn't care about him. So
she didn't get too
good riddance.
Yeah, good riddance to bad rubbish. So yeah, so Max isn't too keen about moving into Jack's bedroom, but in his house. But Rainey again convinces him. She's got that convincing manner, which we saw last week. She's able to convince people that, you know, if you want to do this and you want to get it done, you're going to need to suck in your pride and live there. And Max agrees. But prior to this, he also has a bit of a confrontation again with Phil, where Phil mentions to him that there are 3 things that he's made mistakes.
Yeah, 3 mistakes he's made.
And at first, Max didn't really care, did he?
No.
He offered Phil his breakfast. And then
a few beans.
a few beans and a bit of toast. and walked off. But then later, when he was getting fish and chips,
in the night,
he said, "All right then, humour me. What are these 3 things?" And actually, again, Phil had some
wise
words to say.
What were these 3 things? Can you remember them?
I remember that he said that you're a fool to think you own the car lot.
Yes, because he knows more.
Yes, he's keeping it information. I mean, do you think Max thinks he owns the car lot, or do you think Max?
No.
So you don't think? So you think Max doesn't
knows what he's doing?
Oh, okay. So he knows this.
Yeah, I hope.
Possession is like what 1/10 of the law or something, isn't it? So does he think that if he's squatting on the land that is the car lot, technically that's his? So if I squat outside the local Tesco tonight, that's my shop
yours,
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
Outside the Minute Mart.
Oh, Minute Mart Ultra.
Don't let Yolanda see you.
Mm-hmm.
So what else was his threats? His 3 whys.
He said something about being back. Like, it's never whenever
or
you're
back with your family or something, or back with the Branning.
Something always goes wrong. Yeah. And the third one was that he's trusting Rainey. That he's putting a lot of trust in this plan with Rainey.
Yes, I wouldn't.
Wouldn't you?
No.
I like Rainey.
Yeah, I'm a bit meh on her at the moment.
Oh, really?
I did like her. I like the actress. I think she's really good. But yeah, I'm not too fussed. This week she's just been squatting in the house, so it's not been that.
But that's the point, isn't it? All they've done is eat and plot and eat and plot and eat and plot. We'll see. So I mean, Phil's return was a big. He returned with a bang.
He did.
And basically, I suppose the central storyline is Phil, Max, Rainey, with a little side of Sharon and Keanu.
And Ingrid.
Sorry, I forget. And
Duh.
Ingrid.
Okay, so that covers up that big twist of 3 storylines twisted into one. So shall we cut away and have a little bit of a...
Yeah.
I'm doing this now?
I think we should. It'd be rude not to.
Just do this now.
Having a nice drink. Good. Right, so just doing this now. It's back after last week's hiatus. So this is when we look back at past actors and find out what they are doing now since leaving the role of the show. This part of the show is sponsored by Studio Headphones, who Brit Podscene and Eastenders Weekly have teamed up with to offer you an exclusive deal on their website. Professionally crafted headphones with handmade details and Swedish designs. We received a pair of Regent headphones which has sound cancellation and a great audio quality, perfect for the gym or listening to your favourite podcast. Wonder what that is. Check them out on their website, www.sudio.com/gb. That's Studio spelt SUDIO. They start from £29 for a pair, and when you put in the discount code WEEKLY, you will get 15% off the price. So visit studio.com/gb and enter weekly at the checkout to get 15% off a high quality pair of Studio headphones. So this week we will be looking back at Sylvie Carter.
Ooh. Thrilling.
And of course learning about the actress who portrayed her, Linda Marlowe, in this week's I'm Doing This Now. So Sylvie was first mentioned at the beginning of 2014, but was not properly introduced until the end of the year after Shirley and Mick visit their Aunt Babe and discover
that's when she had that different house,
She lived completely
off
off
Walford.
Yeah, that completely.
It was like a real house,
like a real house.
It wasn't a set.
And they discover Sylvie had been living with her after being diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Although she is hostile towards Shirley, Mick decide to bring Sylvie back to the Queen Vic, which angers Babe after discovering her disappearance and takes her back home. On Christmas Eve, Mick, Shirley and Babe take her out for lunch and Sylvie begins to spend the rest of Christmas with them at the Vic, which upsets her former husband Stan, who is currently living with the family at the pub.
Oh, Stan.
No
longer with us.
After being abandoned by Babe in the new year so she could live on her own, Sylvie leaves the house on her own and attends a dance party at the community centre, which she shares a kiss with Stan. Now Babe becomes angry once more and insists that she cannot care for Sylvie any longer and has organised her to be put into a home. At this time it is revealed that Shirley is actually Mick's biological mum, and she explains to Mick...
You ain't my mother.
And she explains to Mick that Sylvie and Babe had convinced her to give him up, once trying to cause her to miscarriage by being pushed down the stairs by Sylvie and Babe, and also not let her hold him once born. Discovering this, Mick disowns Sylvie. In April 2015, Sylvie visits Stan on his deathbed, and they have an emotional goodbye.
I remember that when Stan was dying in hospital.
It was
really like well done. I hated Stan; he was really annoying. But those scenes of his, like, it was really like real, wasn't it?
It was, and
like, it's really rare for characters to like be ill in hospital and just die.
I mean, Stan's downfall was that he was kind of paired up with Cora near the end, and Cora can be a very really annoying character.
Sometimes she can be good, but at that time, Dominic Treadwell Collins, whatever his name is, he didn't write Cora very well.
No. So she became really quite irritating and annoying. Yeah. After Stan dies, Babe does not tell Sylvie right away, and fueled with anger with not being able to attend his funeral, Sylvie tells Babe that no man would ever love her. Babe slaps Sylvie, and she pretends to be upset, leading to Babe hugging her for comfort, but Sylvie bites her on the neck. Oh no.
It's like Lauren and Abby in the future.
But they are sisters, yeah, exactly. Because Babe, that's how Babe and Abby become
friends
and close.
Frenemies.
Frenemies. Social workers visit the Carter family and say that she has made sexual advances toward the other residents of the care home, and the family decide that they would need to look after her while they look for another facility. While Sylvie is at the Vic and the family are looking for a new care home, Linda becomes increasingly worried over her son Ollie, as Sylvie refers to him as a slug and threatens to pour salt on him.
I can't remember that.
I know. Babe also tells Mick and Linda that Sylvie had locked her in the freezer after a confused Sylvie confessed to the attack. But we know it wasn't Sylvie, don't we?
Abby.
Bring
back Abby, please.
I know.
Somehow.
As a ghost. She could return. Oh no, that's silly. Babe leaves Sylvie at the canal after convincing her that Stan would be meeting her there, which causes Babe to be ejected from the pub. And do you remember the famous line? I curse this place! Leaving Sylvie delighted, and the care for her passed on to Shirley and Tina at their flat. On Sylvie's 75th birthday, Tina organises a party which Shirley suggests is a waste of time due to her worsening dementia. However, Sylvie shares a memory with them both about how her mother had been abusive to her. As time moved on, Sylvie became more violent and afraid by her illness. Tina, Johnny and Whitney arrange a 1960s theme party at the Queen Vic. Just immediately when I hear Johnny organised it, it feels tainted and wrong. Which gives Sylvie a moment of clarity, defending Tina when some men start harassing her, but soon forgets again, and believing Tina to be a stranger, tells Tina that she was a bad mother, but never stopped loving her children. Later that evening, Sylvie falls asleep during a CD playing. She wakes later in the night and draws herself a bath, taking the CD player with her, which would have been plugged into the mains. I bet you she had some studio headphones. Mm-hmm. She wouldn't be in trouble now, would she? After the Vic closes, the power goes out, and upon investigation, Tina discovers Sylvie has electrocuted herself in the bath.
Yes, that was her.
That was
her gone. I remember there was, during the infamous bus crash week, there were scenes of Shirley, Tina, and the mum on the tram on the underground, and everyone thought like there was a big disaster and someone was going to die. And everyone thought that tram was going to crash, and that was how she was going to die.
Oh, right. No.
But that never happened.
Never happened.
Nothing happened. They just took a photo.
But that was quite... Yeah, probably the most boring thing that could have happened, which was that it got stuck.
Yeah, it got stuck, and they took a photo.
Yeah. And meanwhile, on the square, they lifted up a double-decker bus. With human strength. So, anyway, what is Linda Marlowe doing now? Well, after leaving EastEnders just last year, Linda has been very busy working on the 2017 dramatised documentary Wallace, the King That Never Was. Playing the older sister Wallace Simpson, the film uses the diary and letters written by Wallace about her torment by the press for the destruction of the royal family at the beginning of the 20th century. She also played Gloria Rhodes in the 18th episode of the 32nd series of Casualty on the BBC.
I've seen that.
Yes, when I said this to you, you said, "Oh, I remember that episode."
Yeah, I remember her.
And you don't watch Casualty normally either.
No,
so.
I must have just come across her.
Oh, so it wasn't deliberate. You didn't want to watch it because someone from Neighbours was in it.
Neighbours.
Oh goodness me, EastEnders. When Neighbours came
No, it was just on TV, and I saw she was there, typecast because she was dying in a bed.
Fair enough. Talking about typecasts, Malone appears in a two-hander episode dancing shoes of the web series Unpacking, an anthology series created by Matthew Hurt and Oliver Mason following the diverse community of London moving in and out of homes in the capital. In the episode, Linda plays Ellen, who is packing her flat that she had lived in her whole married life in Soho. Her daughter believes that her mother is getting memory loss and wants to move her onto a care home. However, the story has a twist at the end. It's really good, actually, because we both watched it, didn't we?
Yeah, you watched it and said there was a twist and you wouldn't tell me what it was, so I had to watch it myself. So I did.
And did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it was very, very good.
It was good, wasn't it? Highly recommend you watch them. You can find them on Vimeo or www.unpackinglondon.com. She is also in 2 more future short productions coming out later this year, playing Mrs. Allen in Nothing Important, which is a psychological horror, a tale of a woman's efforts to steal her life back from her lonely neighbour. You can visit www.nothingimportantfilm.com to find screenings near you. The second short film, Marlowe plays the lead role of Sylvia Kappelman in a fantasy drama, The Lucen. Not The Looser. Kim.
Another Sylvia.
Yes. Written and directed by Colin Skevington, it is a supernatural tale about a businesswoman who, in the final moments of her life, is forced to confront her dreams by a creature from another world.
I wouldn't imagine her doing sci-fi.
It's a fantasy drama.
Well, yeah, okay. Well, I still wouldn't imagine her doing fantasy. Very versatile.
Very good.
I've seen that Annette Badland, who plays her sister Aunt Babe, retweeted one of her photos of her work, so they're good friends in real life.
Well, funnily enough, it might have been that tweet then that prompted me to do her this week. Linda, finally, you can catch Linda performing live at the Charing Cross Theatre in Harold and Maude until the 12th of May. A dark comedy in a romantic fable told through the eyes of an unlikely pairing. There are tickets available on their website, which is www.charingcrosstheatre.co.uk/theatre/Harold-and-Maud, and visit at the Linda Marlowe on her Twitter feed to learn more about her highly praised play.
I love her Twitter feed.
It's a very
She's really sweet on there.
She's really sweet, and
she
she's
replies
really,
to a lot of people.
Exactly, she's really interactive, really good. So, like every week, if you wish to follow Linda Marlowe on Twitter or find any of the links I mentioned during this section, you can find them on the programme notes or on our Twitter, which is at Eastenders Week. And that was I'm Doing This Now.
Just do this now.
Well, there you go.
Good.
Enough about the old cast.
Back to the present.
Yes, and the new person returning this week. Lovely halfway.
Another return.
I know.
Lots
of
returns.
They're all leaving. They're all coming back.
I was going to say 1 in, 1 out, wasn't it, really?
Yeah. So, although we welcome this return because halfway is lovely.
This was by fan request, wasn't it, really? Let's be honest.
Yes. My personal, I think I got him the job. My personal petition.
Standing outside the studios, handcuffed to the fence.
So he came back in the taxi with Phil, like we mentioned before. He bent down because he dropped his wallet and noticed he was a bit injured.
Yes, he kept
on his side.
Throughout his time on the first couple of episodes, he kept doing the kind of like wince, kind of like he kept holding onto his chest and then turning away like every time.
Off camera.
Off camera.
I noticed another continuity error here. When he got out of the taxi, he was in like blue chinos. Then when he got in, went up to see his next scene to see Whitney or whatever it was, he was wearing denim jeans. So
maybe he
didn't change.
Okay.
He went from out of the cab across the square and he was in different trousers.
I mean, Max and Rainey have been using the community centre for their showers all week, and the leisure centre. They kept chopping and changing between the two until they got squatters.
Well, I'm just saying continuity.
Well, you need to let them know. You got halfway back. Well, sort out their continuity.
Sort out his trousers.
Yeah, sort out his trousers.
So he was back. Whitney was happy.
Whitney was surprised, wasn't she? She was walking through the square and the green part of the square and saw him and was like, "You're back."
So she goes, "Oh, let's go see the Carters. They'll love to see you." And he had to do a little bit of lying because they were all asking lots of questions, and he said his leg hurt for some reason, even though it's a side that was actually injured.
Yeah, he was telling a lot of lies, and he kept
a lot of stories,
changing his story each time. So yeah, as you say, he first of all said that his leg hurt because he dropped a tray of food on it.
Sausage rolls.
Yeah, sausage rolls.
Somehow that hurt his leg, and all the he didn't want anyone to make fun of him, did he? And they were all laughing at him.
They were,
He
but
got a bit embarrassed.
he got a bit embarrassed. But at the same time, I think he was pleased that
the lie was
working, or if only temporarily.
And Whitney was getting
She was
amorous,
getting horny,
amorous / creepy as the
/
episode went on.
forceful.
Very odd. So
Quite
she
pushy.
every time she like kissed him or whatever, he was in pain.
Well, yes.
And he kept making excuses for it not to go further.
Yeah. And so then she tried to get him drunk. She brought in a bottle of wine. It's like, here, glug, 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 glug,
So
glug,
let's go for a walk.
Yeah.
Let's go to the carnival.
Yeah.
Let's
go downstairs.
sit in the cinema.
I've cut you up a sausage roll.
So she as her usual Whitney self, when she has a new boyfriend, she like went to like 0 to 1,000. Like, you don't love me then. You don't like me. Where am I? I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
Why don't you like me?
Am I not? But no.
Like,
touch me.
All right, Whitney.
Well, she thought she was undesirable, didn't she?
Yeah.
But this could go back to when she was first, many moons ago,
yeah,
to when she was first introduced and her
funny.
insecurities. And plus, since then, she's had a couple of very difficult relationships, as it always goes. 3 leads. Yeah, she does have a type. She even referred to Halfway as Lee in the show.
Because he was in the army too.
Because he was in the army too, and he has like, well, as we find out, he has.
So we're guessing this wasn't a lie in the end. We thought it might have been a lie that he was a virgin, but I think it was the actual truth.
Well, it's difficult. Again, it's a bit like the Kim walking into their flat thing. It's never really explained.
Maybe he's a very good liar.
Well, he says to Whitney that the reason why he's not, the reason why her kind of, what's the word, like
forcefulness.
Yeah, the reason her passion isn't being reciprocated, her moves isn't being received well, is because he's a virgin. And so she's like, I've never met a virgin before.
I know, I've never met one. One your age.
You.
And he also he opens up to her a bit about, because then does she?
Well, they go to the Tower of London after again another one of those creepy moments. Yeah. She said, "That's not the crown jewels I'm interested in." They go to the Tower of London, and then when they get just when they were walking past the War Memorial, he then did his thing again
and looked at the War
Memorial, and so that's why you kind of think, well, what he's about to say, he obviously quickly came up with an idea. So he said, so Whitney's like, you're bleeding. Oh, I've got stuff at home that I can clean up with. And then he comes up with the story.
He tells the story of saving 2 children. I think
again, that changed. So he said the first time around it was 2 children he had saved. And she's a bit like...
From shrapnel.
Yes, from a bomb exploding.
So she thinks he's a hero.
Yes, which made her...
Now, this is the creepy... This is the creepy bit.
This is the...
Where she was at her most creepy.
I mean, I don't know. Did you get any comments from the Twitter about this? Because I read a few, and I know a lot of people were pretty much bringing up the uncomfortableness of her forceful nature.
I mean, a lot of people are quite liking Halfway and Whitney. They're saying they're adorable. One person said, "Halfway, you never forget your first time," with an upside down smiley face. So you know this person's a bit crazy. They said, "Mine was behind Barclays Bank with no withdrawals, but a very reasonable deposit."
Oh my god!
Yeah. And someone else,
they've just been given a job for EastEnders.
I know, Someone else said, "We all thought Whitney was out the door, and EastEnders were getting rid of that trash, but she is like a bad penny that always returns."
Oh dear!
So that's not a fan of Whitney.
Someone's obviously upset her or him, whoever wrote that tweet.
Yeah. But most people are positive to.
I mean, it's a lovely, it's a nice relationship.
She was a bit creepy, wasn't she? The way she was.
Well, yes. So she basically said to him that she didn't want him to go back
and
fighting for the country and die a virgin, and she wants him to be. She wants to be his first. Mm-hmm. So they indeed then proceed.
We assume they do, because it then cuts back to him.
Well, they're both under the covers. With a great big beaming smile on his face, and then Whitney's kind of looking at him and like, "So how was it?" And his response was, "I'm really hungry. I want some chips."
Yeah.
It's like, oh, okay. So, but then that kind of makes you think, well, obviously it wasn't such a big deal for him. I know he's quite soft and quite.
I think it was. I think he was saying the truth about that. I don't know.
But this was like, if this was his first time, was he just thinking of chips the whole time?
It's halfway.
Yeah.
Who
Also,
knows?
yeah, true. That's what I mean. He's a kind of a soppy character, so I suppose you kind of give him the benefit of the doubt in that respect. So yeah, so he's had his way.
He has.
Whitney's happy.
And then
but then Whitney starts giving information out, which we don't
he doesn't
see.
want- he doesn't want people to know.
He doesn't want people to
apparently.
know, but then he starts telling Mick and Linda that the story to them, and Mick and Linda can't keep it within themselves.
No, he's a hero.
He's a hero, and he needs a hero's welcome, so they throw him a party.
With more English flags.
Yes, more Union Jacks.
They're everywhere.
I mean, last week I said that they need to open a baseball bat store. They need to open up a
Sweet.
baseball bat and Union Jack store.
Yeah, expand.
Yeah.
So they're throwing a party for him, and there's a special guest coming. Apparently, Mick's best friend that he's never mentioned before that he absolutely loves.
And Halfway's brother,
Yeah,
who's like a dad to
Stuart.
him, Stuart.
Yeah. So we never heard of him before. Apparently, Mick and him are best buds.
Well, they've just done loads of things,
Yeah.
but Linda doesn't like him
No,
very
Linda
much.
doesn't quite. No.
Well, because he obviously drives Mick. You've got a best friend who does things that you probably wouldn't want anyone else to know
Linda
about.
doesn't approve.
So Linda doesn't approve because he kind of takes Mick in the wrong direction.
So we sort of found out that his brother's obviously the more popular, confident one of the two.
Yes.
We're assuming, which is why Halfway's a bit. He always jokes about himself and puts himself down, I'm assuming, because of what his brother's going to be like.
When he was younger, obviously his brother was either there to defend him, because he said his brother was like a father to him.
Yeah.
And so he probably idolises him, and so he's always like the kind of like the, again, I suppose talking about
The Billy Mitchell of
That's
Phil
right.
or
That's
something,
right.
yeah.
Yeah, spot on. But when he's having his party, which he didn't want, but they kind of convinced him to have, because they said, sometimes you need to let people reward you for your good work.
Why didn't he want it? Because he's lying.
Well, exactly. That directly makes you think.
We have another one of these scenes where you see lots of characters, so every single character's going to have like a little line here and there to.
Well, yes. So he
one
tells
of those scenes again.
He repeats the story again, and as you say, he doesn't quite say the story in the same way again. Obviously,
lots of people asking him questions.
Yeah,
aren't they?
Whitney's defending him, so I think Whitney probably kind of forgives his changed the story slightly, blinded by her love for him, while everyone else hasn't heard the story before. But as after he tells the story, Robbie kind of looks up and starts finding a few mistakes. Like, hang on,
He's so annoying.
Oh, he's really annoying, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's like so judgy. He just stands there and
Has
judges.
Dean Gaffney always talks like that, or is that recent?
Kind of
like, it's really
nasally,
like
his breath,
smoke. I don't
quiet.
know. It's weird.
Yeah, it's really quiet.
Like from the back of his throat, like that. It's like, yeah. It's like, has he always spoken like? I can't remember him speaking like that before. It's
I don't
really
know.
Irritating.
Maybe because he's just not. Again, we've said last week. There's a lot of
bit part
characters, bit part characters, and Robbie's kind of like the one who kind of.
I don't know how
ripples
Robbie has kept his job over all the other actings.
Ingrid.
recently. Yeah, or Michelle, or Count Vincent. It's weird, isn't it?
Robbie gets his the promise that Max gives him soon.
Yeah, job.
Yeah, he gets a job. So he's obviously
Yeah.
going to be pushed forward into the more
No,
upper card a little bit, isn't he?
he's used more than Sonia at the moment. Although I think Natalie Cassidy asked for part-time hours because
She's got comedies to watch on Channel 4.
Yeah, recording.
She's got recordings to catch up.
So they're sort of trying to pick holes in Halfway's story, and he's getting a bit
upset, flustered.
But things, of course, as usual, just keep interrupting. So it's
well,
okay.
Mick came in with the tray of shots, didn't he?
Yeah, that
and
was got everyone.
Sharon had a good sniff before she downed
did.
her.
Her face during the story, Halfway story, was so funny. Like her reactive eyes, and
But she's always got one eye
looking
slightly
sad.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Her mouth was open.
Puppy dog.
Yeah,
Oh,
so funny. So his brother didn't turn up.
That
we know of.
He
yet.
went out halfway, left the pub, saying that he didn't really want to be.
Yeah, he'll wait for him
there.
outside.
He'll wait for him
yeah.
outside, and Mick goes out there and says, "God, you really are shy, aren't you? You really don't like the being the centre of attention. And I'm really sorry that your brother didn't turn up." And Halfway's like, "I don't care that he didn't turn up. That's not what I'm upset about." And so again, Mick obviously gets everyone in the pub thinks that he's just reminiscing. That's a really bad word to use, but he's remembering his time, because also prior to this he woke up with a start, didn't he? Because he remembered
he heard like
gunfire and
cannons or something.
Which is, again, have they now taken away that storyline from Ted? Was that storyline always intended to be used? They've taken it away from Ted.
They might use that as a bonding thing in the
But with
allotment.
Ted?
with Ted and
halfway in the allotment. I don't think halfway is going to end up.
Why
in
not?
the
He's got a
allotment.
little hat that he can wear while he digs.
His tea cozy.
They might use that as a little bonding, like
No, I think
an old war veteran to a new war veteran or something.
they might
maybe.
use it for that, but I think it was always intended to be Ted's storyline, and now
They're continuing with Ted's though, because he was imagining it when Joyce died. So
Well, no, he was talking to a sewing machine, thinking it was Joyce, the mysterious sewing machine Joyce.
no, there's still.
But no, they've given
Underlying
Ted and
currents of it.
Bernie's now that storyline, but now they're taking Bernie away from Ted too. So again, they're kind of slowly
Give it time; they'll be
they-
back.
they're
We've got the slow summer storylines to come. So
That's true. Ted's
Watch out.
time to shine.
Yeah.
They might bring back Ingrid by then.
shock return.
Yeah. So there we go. So yeah, lovely to see Halfway back.
Yes,
Because we like Halfway.
Welcome return.
And I like Halfway Whitney, got no problem with that. I just, I genuinely thought that this storyline wasn't going to last as long as it has. They're really stringing it along. It's only been a week and I'm saying they're stringing it along, and that's a really bad thing to say.
It will kick off once his brother comes back, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So
I mean, he wants his brother there. So, because when they first mentioned his brother was coming, I thought, oh, hang on, his brother's going to rock the boat. He's going to say something about
but he was quite
Halfway.
happy that he was.
But he was
coming.
happy
Well,
to
he was
see
expecting
him
him to come, but he didn't turn up, did he?
No, he didn't turn up.
What a bad older brother.
Mm.
So next on our agenda, we have Billy Mitchell's birthday,
Oh, yes.
the one that everyone forgot.
No one cared about,
No.
really. So he turned up to work early at E20, cleaning up glasses in what can only be described as the most inefficient way of cleaning up a bar you could ever see. And Woody turns up and says, "Oh, you're early," and Billy basically says, "Well, I've got no point not being here,
he's
really.
miserable, isn't he?
I'm a bit
Single
miserable.
dad wants his kids.
It's my
wants his
birthday."
honey.
And in the meantime, because I think really we're gonna have to mix in Billy's birthday with another.
Another creepy story.
Oh yeah, another awful.
You thought Whitney was creepy. Well, did you wait for Jack?
Wait till Jack gets in the scene.
Good lord.
Oh goodness me! So he's talking to Mel. To be honest with you, I can't remember what they're talking about because it's that
A
dull.
broken tap. In
Oh.
the house, because I don't know what Hunter was doing for
Well,
breakfast.
Yes, so Mel came downstairs.
It was really weird. Like all the cupboards were open, all the food was knocked over, the tap was running for some reason.
Tap was running, so that was the broken tap that
full running like that. It just looked like it had been left on.
But she did switch it off.
Yeah, but it's leaking.
But it looked a bit loose when she slammed it. It looked a bit loose. I just thought it was
She's
a really
throwing
bad
everything
set
around.
made or something. Yeah.
So yeah, she's asking Jack, the best landlord ever, to fix her tap.
Well,
Fix
very
her plumbing.
very attentive landlord. I got what you're saying about the plumbing. I just chose to move quickly on. And she and so he comes along and says, "Oh, I fixed the tap for you. Aren't I great? Let's bants for a little bit." And in that time you hear a loud crash back in the bar and Billy's dropped all the glasses.
Yes, and Mel's
Not
her usual
pleased.
horrible, mean self.
Yes, well,
as
Mel
recent.
very miserable.
She's got the new face. So, like, the past few weeks, Stacey had had that, like, slapped ass face. But now, Mel seems to have taken on that.
He said that just as I was drinking.
So, Mel's now got that slapped ass face walking around. So she goes and has a go at Billy.
She does, shout to
Not
him.
knowing it's his birthday.
Not knowing his birthday. And I think it was a bit unfair that both Woody and Jack were a bit like, that's not fair on the man. It's his birthday.
He's like 50 something.
I was going to say, if it was like a 13-year-old... Well, no, not even 13. If it was an 8-year-old child, then you can kind of understand people being angry at someone for having a go at them on their birthday.
Yeah, she said, you leave your issues at home, don't bring them to
Yeah.
work. So
And then just told him to leave anyway.
Yeah.
Because he can't be
Go
trusted
home.
on... Yeah, have a
And
day
then
off.
she felt a bit sorry because Jack, like,
Well, see, this
had
is...
a word with his woman to be.
Yeah, clubs around their head again. Yeah, so this is when it started getting a little bit complicated and sick. And that's... So, Jack... It's almost as if Mel was trying to impress Jack at that point.
I'm not enjoying this either.
No.
I'm not enjoying the Brannings at the moment.
Well, Jack Branning is never really...
Never enjoyable,
never
but I'm just
enjoyable.
not... It's just really, like, cringy. Like, they had that argument of, like, you've had
Oh, yeah,
3 ex-husbands
you've got married and
you've
they've...
slept with this.
Yeah.
It's like...
And, oh, I didn't realise you were keeping record. At least that's one less marriage than you've had.
Yeah.
And then they kind of
And then
crescendoed
they-
at the end. It was like a pantomime. It was really uncomfortable to watch. So Mel's trying to organise a party for Billy, which ultimately ends up going a bit wrong because
she wants to invite Honey, and Donna sticks her nose
she uses
in
she uses kind of like
psychology.
Yeah,
apparently she's a psychologist.
Yeah, by basically saying to Mel, your husband doesn't love you anymore and is off sleeping with other women. That's going to make
her jealous.
Her jealous to want to come.
Yeah, and
Donna...
Mel had a really ridiculous line. This is a bit later when she went to go make up with Honey because of Jack's more of Jack's words of wisdom, and she was saying to Honey, "Well, you might as well take Billy back because." All men cheat, it's in their DNA, so you might as well. It's like, what?
I know. But while this is happening, Jack was in the background and you could almost feel that he wanted a nod. Like, that's true. I like cheating on other women.
So
the party goes on because Donna reveals to Billy that Mel has
said that and upset
said
Honey.
Really horrible stuff to Honey. So then Billy ends up going to Honey's house or flat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Pam Les's old flat.
Yeah, above the funeral parlour. And she lets him see his kids for his birthday. And then he misinterprets it a little bit when they have a glass of wine together on the sofa. Yeah. And she's like, oh, yeah, actually, this is nice. And so Billy interprets that as in, this is my opportunity to kiss her. And
they butt heads or something.
Where he whacks his nose on underneath her eye.
Oh, right.
I genuinely thought this was going to head to the next day, that she was going to have a black eye, and Jack,
I think they'd beaten her.
Jack or some kind of alpha male in the square was going to be like, Billy, have you smacked Honey? But luckily they didn't go down that avenue.
We keep theorising there's going to be a Honey storyline, but there never is.
I know. But that's my point. Every time there's something to do with Honey,
they just
always about Billy.
Yeah.
That's all Honey has. Even when it's with Kim, it's somehow rooted back to Billy. So Honey, unless she has Billy, I think she's in trouble with ever getting another storyline.
So obviously all this little nice talk to Mel from Jack worked on Mel apparently, because
yes, so they start doing a really convoluted route back to her flat while they're having a bit of a discussion, and Jack's like, oh, the only reason you're playing hard to get is because you want me to sleep with you, and she's like, oh yeah, whatever, and it's just horrible. And then
she does sleep with him.
Well, yeah, and again, that was so horrible. Even the continuity announcer after the end of the episode, literally there was like such a loud pause of what the heck have I just seen at the end of that episode, and the continuity announcer goes, well, tomorrow's episode of EastEnders, and it was like, that's where it was. It was like, even he thought that was ridiculous and uncomfortable, and no one wants to see that, and it was so horrible and it's just horrible to watch.
Wow. Over on social media, here's some of the comments on that scene. Someone said, that saucy sex scene will definitely rake in the complaints from Ofcom.
I mean, it was quite heavy. It was 7:30 at night, so I suppose you could argue that. But it wasn't sexy. It wasn't. It was just disgusting.
Someone has said, no, not Jack and Mel. Needs to be Honey and Jack. So they're still relying on that thing that everyone thought was happening last year with Honey and Jack.
I mean, Jack did say that Honey was wired differently and that she sees things in black and white, and that's Jack's kind of girl, isn't it, really?
Someone said, oh my God, can your sound engineers turn the microphones down during the kissing scenes?
Yes!
First Whitney and halfway, now Jack and Mel. The slurping noises are so annoying.
Oh, it's just... But that's what I mean. It's like you could tell both actors were really uncomfortable doing that scene. And when Mel pushes Jack onto the bed, her face, I didn't know what to make of it.
Do you think Mel's done this as an ulterior motive to something, or do you think it was just a mistake? She looked quite a mistake the next day, didn't she? She was quite...
Well, at the time when they were doing it,
he thought she had like a menacing face.
Yeah, because I turned to you and said she's up to something.
Yeah,
I reckon
apparently.
But no, she can't be, because she's trying to keep it all a secret now, isn't she?
So she doesn't want Hunter to know.
Yes,
he found a cufflink in the bar.
He did, and she quite quickly, to be fair to Mel, she's very quick to come up with an excuse. She said
she's a good liar.
She's a very good liar. She came up with the excuse that he was fixing the tap, and so his cufflink must have fallen
Hunter
out.
didn't buy it though, I don't think.
I think he's paid a bit of time, but I think Hunter will delve deeper next week without any doubt.
Hopefully he offs Jack.
Yes,
in the near future.
The problem is though that like he's going to need support if he wants to do something with Jack, and he's basically burnt his bridges with any kind of decent support in this form of Phil.
But no one has an issue with Jack though, do they?
I have an issue with Jack.
Yeah, I mean,
I have a huge issue with Jack.
People who with power. like the King and Queen of Walford.
Yes, no, they don't have any issue with him. But so the whole Billy storyline really was just to hook up Mel and Jack, and it was not nice.
Yeah,
it was
there you
horrible.
have it. So we even have another person returning this week. Lovely Cushy.
Much better. We like Kush.
Yes, he seems a bit better after his break. He seems like a bit refreshed as a character. I thought he was a bit more alive in his scenes.
Yeah, he seemed to want to be there a bit more.
Yeah,
didn't he?
a bit more with it.
I mean, it was indicating we discovered that this might be a very short return as well.
No, I don't believe it.
No. Well, he comes back from Dubai, doesn't he, after visiting
With a
his
secret,
brother?
like everyone has.
Of course. We can't return without a secret.
No.
There's no point returning
What's
otherwise.
the point?
Exactly.
And Kamal was doing her yoga and saw Kush come back to his flat.
Yeah.
And Shaquille was there as well.
Yes, he popped his head round the door and asked for any duty free.
Yeah, that was it. And then we didn't see him again.
Yeah.
So he's been in Dubai with...
He's off travelling with Ingrid.
If only that was the truth.
I know.
Because we know Shaquille is leaving as well.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes me think that Kush is not going to be leaving anytime soon. But his secret, he's told Kamal the secret, but not Denise. Denise has no idea.
Yes, not yet anyway. So when he goes and visits D...
D's got a D back.
D's got a D back.
Well...
She's got a cushy.
Well, I mean, Kim nearly got it.
Well, quite, yes. Almost poked her eye out from the seams of things. So, yeah,
he stripped right off. Didn't take long, did it?
No, well, this is where I mentioned tan lines earlier. I don't know if you noticed there was quite the tan line where his underwear sat.
Oh, was there?
Yes, so...
That's from his Strictly tour.
So it's fake tan as well. And so he thinks that Dee isn't responding to him while she's in the shower because, again...
I mean, this was obvious what they were building up to, but it was still quite funny. Even though how obvious it was.
Yes, it's a stock thing that they tend to do. You know, you might as well do it every 6 months. So he goes into the shower, and obviously Kim is in the shower. She's like, "Wah!" And Denise then walks in and is like, "What's going on here then?"
What's going on?
And so once that's all cleared up, Dee and Kush are on the sofa, and she's pretending to be upset with him, and he's like, "Oh, I've got you some perfume, some chocolates, create us fags."
Again, they use this thing where he tries to tell her half a sentence, and then she gets distracted and then doesn't hear.
Well, they were distracted because he put his hand down. Well, they moved.
They found the £10,000.
And they found the £10,000. And
Denise... they keep doing that. It's like the third storyline now, where someone's about to tell them and they get distracted.
But again, Denise quite unfairly accused Kush of drug pushing.
Well, he just moved to Dubai.
That's quite racist. That's quite...
I mean, she was having a laugh.
Does anyone say anything about their relationship?
Well, everyone seems to be quite happy that Kush is back. They do say something about Denise. Someone says, well, what a change for Denise. 1 minute she's drunk off her head, sleeping with Phil and eating from bins. Next, she's got a toy boy and moving to Dubai. So,
I have to say, that's pretty much summed it up.
It's looking up.
It's looking up.
And everyone else is just happy that Kush is back, excited to see him naked in the showers. So everyone's saying, I forgot how much I missed having Kush around.
He's a great character and he's interesting.
He's just a nice guy.
He's a nice guy,
isn't it?
And even when he does something bad, he's still likable. Although the one thing
he doesn't really do anything bad.
When he did that thing with Stacey, didn't
he?
Yeah,
but Martin and Stacey were on a break. They were on a break, so Kush didn't do anything bad.
We were on a break. But the one thing I do not like about Kush, and it's a very silly thing, and that's the fact that they drink from those bloomin' tankards, in the Queen Vic.
The boys. So me reading that, I was kind of spoiled it, but Kush's big secret was that he plans to move to Dubai because his brothers
offered him a job.
Yeah, offered him some sort of job. And he wants to take Denise with him because she was quite angry when Kamal broke the news to her at E20. So she stormed back to talk to Kush and he said, no, I want to take you with me.
Yes, but Denise isn't too sure because Kim, the following day, then had a breakdown in the middle of the cafe when Donna starts confronting Kim. That, again, quite unfairly, Donna accuses Kim of withholding information about where Vincent is, even though she quite clearly did say to her, he's left me.
I think Donna's just a bit worried or
grasping at straws, isn't she, a little bit? Because has she spoken to her mum as well?
I'm not sure.
We're not really sure because she left that message, didn't she, last week? But so
I'd be interested. I don't know if we're spoilers. about someone leaving?
If you don't want to hear the
No,
spoiler, skip forward.
Yeah, just a minute. But I'm not sure how they're going to do a storyline of how Donna's going to leave, because she's announced that she's leaving. So I don't know if that's going to tie in with Vincent, or
maybe she goes with Vincent to Dubai.
with Kush.
There could be a spin-off episode. They go off to find Vincent.
Maybe
Vincent of Arabia.
I don't know how that's going to go, but spoilers over now. All done.
Are you back?
We
Good.
are. We're all back.
Yeah. So Denise eventually does tell Kim, and Kim puts on a brave face and orders champagne to celebrate that they'll be going.
Yes, and Kim sort of says, "Oh, that's a great idea. I'll come visit.
Better be aircon.
Smile.
Turn away from them two. Look into the camera and grimace.
Look a bit worried. I wouldn't be too worried, Kim. I think he's had like 6 months off. He's not going anywhere yet.
Yeah, he'd want to stay there for a bit. But I mean, I would like Kim to stay with Denise and Kush. I quite like that kind of storyline with them three. I think it'd be quite interesting.
Yeah, they can all move into the B&B.
Quick recap on Patrick Watch. Have we heard any more about Patrick?
Oh, he's still gone.
Yeah.
He's not back yet.
Do you reckon he's going to come back with the Dubois?
Possibly. He needs a storyline. He's not had one for a while.
No, I've got a funny feeling that this is where this is heading. She's going to come back with him. And again, it's going to get more and more suspicious.
She's the new Claudette.
Yeah. So we'll see.
So that sums up this week's episodes.
I mean, it's been dictated by Phil and Max and Sharon, as we said.
And then a lot of people just returning and setting up new storylines now. So that's why it's a bit...
Yeah, they're laying the brickwork for now everyone else's storylines to go around it. I mean, I was very surprised not to see the Slaters not even mentioned, or not even just kind of walking into the cafe making an off comment.
That's right, we can have a week off.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, they'll be allowed. I'm sure they'll be back next week.
Yeah.
Lovely.
So, all the characters are back. No one left this week. Possibly someone leaving next week. So we look forward to that. So in the meantime, have you got a game for us to play this week?
Yes, let's play our game. But it's time for a return of Martin Fowler's 5 a day.
Oh, hey.
We love this game. I will ask you a question, and you must list 5 answers that relate to that question. You must wait after every answer to discover if you are right or wrong. And
I'm always right.
Not recently.
No.
And you only have 30 seconds to give me your answers.
Okay.
Excellent. Right, so this week, Max and Rainey have been trying their hand at selling second-hand cars at 6 Albert Square, or commonly known as the Car Lot, or Maximum Motors. However, prior to Max opening up, Phil has been trying to get the Car Lot back. But can you name any other owners of the Car Lot or the land associated with it?
Yes.
Good. So the question is, in 30 seconds, can you name 5 of the characters that once ran the Car Lot between 1989 to 2018?
Okay.
This does not include Phil Mitchell or Max Branning, because that'd be far too easy, because I've just told you them.
That's fine.
And they must have had run the Car Lot as an owner or a manager. So a member of staff, for instance, Fat Boy, would not count.
Did he work there? Huh?
Yeah, he was a member of staff.
I think who his boss was.
I'll tell you later. So, are you ready then? So 30 seconds?
Yep.
30 seconds on the clock. Here we go then. So 3, 2, 1, go.
This one's not right. I'm stuck. Frank Butcher.
Correct. From 1989 to 1993.
Roy Owen. Is it Owen? Roy? Barry's dad. Roy.
Yeah, it's okay. Roy Evans.
Evans, not Owen. Yeah.
1995 to 2003. That's 2.
Okay. Steve Owen?
No. You've got 10 seconds. Who was married to Frank?
What, Pat? She owned it.
1989 to 1995, and
Janine?
then 2008. Janine, yep, 2008 to 2009. Time is up. Oh, who would have been your last answer?
Jay.
Jay Brown.
Yeah.
That's so obvious. 2017. Do you want me to quickly run through
Jay
them all?
technically still owns it.
Yes.
So Max wouldn't have been an answer.
Max would have been an answer, because Max has owned
he
it
did.
previously.
Oh, yeah, okay.
So,
who else has owned it?
So,
Are you impressed that I got Roy Evans, though?
I was very impressed, actually. That's one I didn't think you'd go
No, that's
for.
when I used to watch it.
So you could have had you had Frank Butcher, you had Pat Evans or Pat Butcher, David Wicks, Pat's son from 1993 to 1995. Roy Evans, Janine Butcher had it in 2004. Patrick Truman, 2005.
Did he?
Yep. It's called Truman's Wheels.
God.
Kevin Wicks, 2006 to 2008.
I don't really know any of the Wicks.
Kevin Wicks was, remember I said a couple of weeks ago, Shirley's ex-husband?
Oh, yeah.
That was who I was trying to think of.
No, I don't really know any of the Wicks sons.
No, well, that's one of them. Archie Mitchell bought it off Janine in 2009, just before his fatal blow. Bradley Branning, 2010 to 2011.
Oh.
Jack Branning, 2011 to 2014. That was also owned by Max at the same time. Jay Brown, 2017. And most recently, Fee Browning, 2017, 2018.
Oh, yeah, technicality.
Or Wayland and Co. I would have taken. Now, you could have also said, because 3 people actually owned the land as well. And you could have had Peggy Mitchell, Phil Mitchell, or Roxy Mitchell. They all owned the land at one point.
It didn't count.
It did count in the game. But, I
did
say
well.
well
I got
done. You
4.
got 4.
That's good.
4 out of 5. Well done, you. How did you get on at home? That was Martin Fowler's 5 a Day. So well done, you. That was very good. Very good.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm going to get you a little crown. If you ever win the game, I'm going to get you a little. I'm going to buy.
I've won games before.
Yes, but recently you've not done too well.
4 out of 5 is really good.
4 out of 5 is excellent.
Well, there you go.
Okay, but
better than you and your
last week I won.
Slate of honey bunny.
Yeah. Well, once the rules were sorted out, I'm winning them left, right, and centre.
Mm-hmm.
Right, quickly then. So obviously the Twitter poll,
poll of the week,
was this week. Sorry, how do you think Mel would feel by the end of this week's EastEnders? So the alternative answers were ashamed,
yes,
happy,
no,
reflective, idiotic.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, a couple of those I would say would be lent toward.
Anything but happy.
Well, funnily enough,
Jack was happy.
Jack was happy. I think a lot of people thought that perhaps she was happier than she let on because,
oh, really?
Well, 36% of the votes went toward ashamed. And that was the winning one.
That was my vote.
That makes perfectly good sense. Then second was happy, 29%. Idiotic, 21%, and reflective, 14%. I mean, going on what we now know, if I was Mel, I would be in the shower cleaning myself.
Only if the taps work.
Yes. Well, then she'd have to get
no
Jack
shoddy
back
apartments with Mr. Branning.
No.
None of it works.
He's a good landlord, isn't he? Although he seems very attentive for just Mel's. I don't know how many properties he owns, but he's rented them all out, hasn't he? So he must be he's a very busy man. He can't be. He owns them all. He owns the square, but he's never owned the car lot.
He has.
No, he's never owned the land. The
land.
The lay of the land. So there you go. I mean, there's been a few comments on Twitter about her saying that her character has been a bit different to when she first was on.
We've mentioned that before, haven't we?
Yeah. She's a feistier...
17 years away.
Yeah, angrier woman. I mean, I
Aren't
think...
we all?
I know. But, yeah,
maybe she'll soften now that she's found love with Mr. Branning.
God, no. I hope not.
New Ingrid. So, yeah, there you go.
There we have
that's
it.
Us this week. That's our roundup. So hopefully everyone is caught up on this week's EastEnders now.
On our audio omnibus.
Yes.
As always, please get in touch to let us know any of your thoughts and feelings. It's at EastEnders Week on Twitter. You can email eastendersweekly@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram at EastEnders Weekly and Facebook. If you just search EastEnders Weekly, you can find our page. You can like and send messages to us on that as well.
Yes. Lovely. That is great. So, you've parked your car outside. There's a blonde woman getting into it.
What? Who's she with?
Some guy with shaved head.
What, in overalls?
Yeah, grey. She's got tacky extensions.
Get out of my car!
The theme to EastEnders Weekly was written and composed by Klaxon. He can be found on SoundCloud under KLAXUN. Thank you all for listening, and if you'd like to subscribe and leave a review, it would mean so much to us, as it really helps the word get out that we're around. If you have any topics or discussion you want us to talk about, you can email us at eastendersweekly@gmail.com or send us a tweet at EastendersWeek. We do live tweeting to every episode of EastEnders, so make sure you follow. See you soon.